Le Nissan Kick-Play 2025 a beaucoup de plus. Apple CarPlay intégré pour jouer vos tunes préférées, des fonctions avancées de sécurité, un rendement énergétique remarquable, puis même la petite odeur de char neuf qu'on aime tant. Tout ça en plus pour moins. Le Nissan Kick Play 2025 est le véhicule neuf le plus abordable au Québec. Achetez-le à partir de seulement 22 774 $, incluant un rabais à l'achat comptant de 2 600 $. Profitez de cette offre avantageuse chez votre concessionnaire dès maintenant. Jusqu'au 2 mars, des conditions s'appliquent. Détails chez Nissan.
Welcome back to the Elias Makos Show. Now, more and more secrets keep getting exposed after a massive U.S. military intelligence leak. Now, part of that boatload of secrets that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau told NATO that Canada will never meet its spending goal to support military efforts. U.S. intelligence suggesting that the, quote, widespread defense shortfalls hinder Canadian capabilities. And the key is this, as the Washington Post puts it, quote, the document's anonymous authors say Canada's widespread military deficiencies are harming ties with security partners and allies. This week in Ottawa, Justin Trudeau was asked about that bombshell report by the Washington Post. Here's what he had to say.
I continue to say and will always say that Canada is a reliable partner to NATO, a reliable partner around the world, and with our military investments, with the support we give to Canadians, we will continue to be doing that. We will continue to be working on investing in giving the support necessary to the men and women of the Canadian forces to deliver, whether it's in Latvia, whether it's in NATO operations around the world or UN operations. Canada continues to be a partner that is much sought after, and that's why we're so pleased that we've invested increases in about 70% through our strong, secure, engaged in defense spending. We've moved forward on modernization of NORAD. We're going to continue to be there to make sure that the women and men of the forces have the tools they need. Merci beaucoup.
In that session, the Prime Minister was asked point blank, did you say we're never going to reach the 2%? And of course, avoiding that question with some expertise on that. Let's go now to Amanda Colletta, reporter based in Toronto who covers Canada for the Washington Post, the author of this bombshell story from earlier in the week. Amanda, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
First things first, can you give us a rundown of this, like how you even found this part? Because there were so many secrets leaked over the last little while. Then the job becomes, well, how do you even wade through it? And how do you even find all of these little nuggets? Take me to that process and how you expose this part of the leak.
Sure. So this document is part of a trove of materials that was posted to Discord, a online messaging platform that's popular with video gamers, allegedly by a 21-year-old member of the Massachusetts Air National Guard who has since been arrested and charged with a number of crimes related to this. And my colleagues at the Post, were able to obtain a bunch of these documents, and we have been sort of sifting through them for the past couple of weeks, and some of them will continue to do so going forward.
And when it comes to leaks involving Canada, is that at the top of the pile?
We're just, dividing up the labor. There's been a lot of really interesting intelligence that has been revealed by the leak. So I don't know if it's necessarily at the top of the list. A lot of these documents do relate to the war, Russia's, invasion of Ukraine. But there are other bits of intelligence that we thought was worth looking into.
So why is this so important? The fact that Justin Trudeau apparently has told NATO point blank that we're never going to meet these spending goals.
I think, for people who have been following Canada's defense policy closely, that wasn't necessarily a surprise, because if you look at what Canada's projected military spending is over the next couple of years, it's going to increase, but it's still going to fall short of that 2% target. And he and members of his government have been asked over and over again when or if Canada might meet that target, and they have, found 1,000 different ways to not give an exact answer. So it's not as if, he was out there saying we're going to meet it on such and such a date, but he also was not saying, guys, stop asking me, the answer is never. What I think was more interesting for me is that, the document is not particularly diplomatic in some of the language it uses. And, it says these shortfalls are actually straining partner relationships and alliance contributions. And that seems to clash a little bit with the message that we get from the federal government that Canada is a valued ally and partner around the world.
So what exactly are our allies now saying behind our backs? What are our allies saying about Canada?
So the document gives a couple of examples. One is that Germany is concerned, according to the document, that the Canadian Armed Forces might not be able to meet both its NATO commitments and provide support to Ukraine. Canada, by way of background, leads a NATO battle group along the alliance's eastern flank in Latvia. Turkey, the document says, is disappointed that the Canadian Armed Forces refused to support the transportation of humanitarian aid after the earthquake earlier this year that killed tens of thousands of people. Haiti has, for several months, since October actually, been wanting foreign security troops to be deployed to the country to help wrest control back from the gangs that have effectively taken over much of its capital. Many analysts, see Haiti as almost a failed state at this point. The United States has been looking to Canada as a country that might lead a multinational security mission there, and Canada has, said that it didn't believe military intervention or foreign intervention of that kind was really the best way forward. But Haiti is, frustrated with Canada's reluctance to sort of lead this mission. NATO, some of its members, according to the document, are concerned that the Canadian Armed Forces hasn't yet increased its presence at the battle group in Latvia that I mentioned. Canada promised last year that it would surge its presence there to a brigade level, and this document suggests that all of the personnel haven't yet arrived and that NATO is concerned that they might not arrive. And NORAD, according to the document, thinks that the Canadian Armed Forces lacks Arctic capabilities, and that while officials have made multiple public statements about modernizing NORAD capabilities, those plans haven't yet materialized.
And of all countries to lack Arctic capabilities, you'd think Canada wouldn't be among them. Amanda, I want to ask you one last question here. There was recently a security and safety and support deal signed by the United States, the UK, Australia. A lot of observers are saying, boy, it's curious that Canada isn't part of that pact. Are there indications that Canada is losing favor with some of its allies when it comes to strategic military alliances?
So the document doesn't mention that particular alliance, but I think that's one particular possible outcome, that Canada sort of gets frozen out of those kinds of alliances.
Amanda, we're going to leave it there. I want to thank you so much for coming on the program this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Amanda Colletta covers Canada for The Washington Post.